Today on Sunyshore Station, YouTuber ShiningBlue joins us for a Metronome interview. It's always sunny at Sunyshore Station. Hello everyone, welcome back to Sunyshore Station, your choice for Pokémon podcasting. I am your host, Fus Force, and I'm joined by the loveliest of co-hosts, Lonely Hermit.
I didn't say the thing. Hello to the people. You normally say hello to the people.
Oh, I'm sorry. Fus Force in the new year is messing up already, guys. I love it. This is unscripted and just beautiful, like it always is. It doesn't have to be like a perfect intro, which is amazing. And speaking of unscripted wildness, we're joined by a good friend of ours, ShiningBlue. Say hello to the people. Ooh. I said it that time.
Why, hello. Also, I heard one was the loneliest number, but I think one is the loneliest hermit.
It's true.
That is true. That is true. Guys, if you're not familiar with ShiningBlue, be sure to check out his YouTube channel. He has a really, really awesome shiny hunting setup, and I believe this episode's coming out before our segment for shiny hunting called The Hunt. But ShiningBlue is joining us as a co-host on a segment where we're talking nothing but shiny hunting, which is amazing, and he definitely is the I would say reigning authority on multiple device shiny hunting.
I don't have a problem, I promise.
I always ask you, how many consoles is your max that you've done at once?
It was about 24, 28, roughly, around there, all at once with one controller.
Oh my... Wow.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, it is definitely something. I don't have a problem. You have a problem.
Exactly.
All right, guys. We're back for another Metronome interview. It's we've had Blue on here before in the past for a Who's That Pokémon challenge, but now we have him on for a full, long episode of the podcast, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Are you ready to go?
I am ready whenever you are ready, good sir and loneliest hermits.
Spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel. We're going to go ahead and see what our number is going to be for today. Let's see. Ooh. And we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And it looks like we have a winner. Number 15. The question for today is, this one's a good one. I'm kind of excited for this one. ShiningBlue, who is the best rival in all of Pokemon, or who is your favorite?
Well, if I'd say one that gave me the hardest time, I would probably have to say May. But my favorite would have to be Silver.
Oh, those are strong choices. So we're gonna break this down just a little bit and talk about why. But can you say why May comes to mind first?
Well, Gen 3 being my favorite, so a little bit of bias here. But one of the hardest rival fights that you hear, for example, in speedrunning, is the May 2 fight just before you go over to Watson.
Oh my god, right there on that grass route?
Yep. That fight has always given me so much issues. Growing up, I'd always do Nuzlocke type of things or single Pokemon challenges, and she would wipe me every time, and I would have to restart.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I done a Mareep only challenge, and I literally took me over a month to get it off the ground just because of that fight alone.
I have distinct memories of getting stuck at that, little area because when I was a kid, I only played with one Pokemon, which, of course, was my starter, and everything else was just kind of sitting there, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, the rival actually had something super effective against you, so...
Yeah, that made it harder back in the day. To be fair, I understand why they're making it, I feel like they're making the rivals a little bit easier. A lot of the rivals that I, wasn't a fan of, the Let's Go rival, where it's overly friendly and, gives you stuff.
Yeah.
I like my rival, if they're gonna be nice, that's fine, but I want them to have, a little bit of, personality or, a little bit of a jerk. That's why I like Silver so much, is because, he goes through, a whole arc, right? He starts as a jerk, he steals his Pokemon, and then by the end of it, it's he actually cares. He has a Crobat now, for example. So it actually shows that he's actually, starting to care.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I won't get into it, but, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, because I don't know if people actually know this, but, He has like a little DLC thing as well, which kind of like flushes him out even more.
It's been like 12 years more than that, so I think we can talk about spoilers.
Oh, well, I would definitely say the fact that he's Giovanni's father was like, what? When I found that out, I was like dumbstruck.
Or you mean Giovanni was his father?
I am your father.
You said that Silver's Giovanni's father.
How is that supposed to work?
Yeah, time travel stuff. I don't know, but that's what you said, and I was confused for a second. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know that. Did you know that Silver was Giovanni's father?
Yeah, Silver had a kid that's older than him. That's totally feasible.
I like to believe that the Rocket executive Ariana was his mother.
And it's like that theory actually, like, it really works because it's like, for one, you got the red hair, and who else would he have had like a relationship like that with? Like, that wasn't outside of like Team Rocket, you know? It just makes plausible sense.
Now, going back to that May fight, the notoriously around that area is like my favorite part of the Hoenn region because we talked about this multiple times on the podcast, and I know I've talked to you guys about this, but right outside of Slateport City, I got my first shiny Pokemon that wasn't the scripted Gyarados. I got Minun right there in that little patch of grass right before the bike path. And then I remember the Trick House being one of my favorite parts of Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald because I thought that you had to wait like physical time to like for a new thing to be like in the Trick House. I didn't know it was the gym badges. So I sat there waiting one time for a whole day waiting for it to change. And I'm like wondering why it didn't. So I have that route theme stuck in my head, and I don't know. It was just one of those things. But that fight,
At least it was a good one.
it was a good one. But that route theme is stuck in my head. But that fight with May is just ridiculous. You know, assuming that it's not Brennan, because if you play as May, it's the same thing. But still, yeah. Everyone mostly wants May as a rival. So I don't know a lot of people that play as May. You know.
I think for speedrunners, like one of them is better.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like,
May is actually better
shaves
for speedrunning. I think it saves like 3 seconds or something. At least like in the beginning segments.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they have it down to the
anything for that world record.
Oh, exactly. Like,
aim for that world record.
yeah, because like I haven't seen like speed runs of that game for a while, but I know like no one picks Brendan.
And you know, we talked about it a little bit. You said you wanted a rival with like a dynamic to it. It kind of I agree with that. That's why kind of my whole thing with Hop and How, they're the same character just about, you know, like on the page they are very similar is what I mean. And I don't particularly care for them too much. I would much rather have Leon as a rival than Hop, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Hop like isn't the worst. Like my most hated rival has to be How, because he just doesn't shut up.
Yeah, all he wants is food.
Yeah, well, and it's like, I just gotta do a city. Oh, cutscene, great. You know, this one's not so bad. Take 5 steps in, another cutscene. It's like, How, shut up.
Right.
Like, I tried doing Nuzlocke of that game, but it's like so many cutscenes, and like half of the time it's always How, and he's not shutting up about like Malasadas or let's have a battle or like, oh, you're so awesome. It's like, I know I'm awesome and I know you're hungry. Just please let me keep going.
Meanwhile, Silver's like, what are you looking at? Shoves you out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. I think he like pushes you like twice.
Yeah, he does.
It's actually really funny though, because if you go back to that same spot, I believe in Gold and Silver, I don't know if it's the same with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but you go to the spot where he was peeping through the window, there's actually a potion there.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I found that to be pretty interesting, because not a lot of people think to go back there and check that one spot. It's just random potion there. It's like,
yeah,
it's useful, at least for a little bit anyways.
What about you, Hermit? What do you think your favorite rival would be?
I just want to throw this out there that I really don't like the Gen 6 rivals. Out of all of them, I think Serena's like the only rival, really. But even then, she's like, eh.
You know what's bad is that I didn't even know who you were talking about for a second. Like, that's how bad. That's how bad. I was like, who are the Gen 6 rivals? You said rivals, and I'm like, wait, what? What are...
Technically, I guess they're all rivals, but really, like, Serena's the only one that can actually put up a fight. But I don't like them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I gotta bring up my boy N.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Gen 5 is my favorite, so I gotta bring up N. I love his story. I love the way it even carries over into Black and White 2, where they basically talk about he's like been traveling around and doing all this stuff with the respective legendary, depending on the game you're playing. But his whole story of just going from being manipulated to Getsus to finally realizing, like, wait a minute, like this is bad. What I'm doing is just it's terrible, and he learns it through battling you and traveling around and all this stuff. And his whole character arc throughout, specifically Black and White, is very. You guys talk about in-depth rivals. That's definitely an in-depth rival, at least one of the more in-depth ones we've had.
Oh, yeah.
And that final boss is nothing to sniff at. It's not the hardest, but it's also not particularly easy either.
He's one of the few people to own a legendary, too.
Yeah.
But that legendary definitely kicked my butt a couple times when I first played through the games. And then it immediately gets followed up by Getsus, which kind of retroactively makes it a little harder. Even though you do get healed, but, you know, it's still not the easiest battle in the world. But I think N would still has my heart as my favorite rival in all of Pokemon. I love N. Loved his story. Loved his whole shtick with being able to talk to Pokemon and stuff. I really liked N. I still do.
Yeah, if we're talking about most fleshed out rivals, I think N takes the cake. Easy.
Yeah.
I think also that generation was just strong for storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, Charon and Bianca are pretty interesting, too. Like, Bianca wanting to leave home, but her parents don't want her to. And then Charon wanting to be the very best and ends up becoming a gym leader. That's kind of cool.
I wish we can get more storytelling like that, too. And it's, like, another interesting thing, though, as well as, like, in Black and White 2, you can actually go back and catch N's Pokemon that he used in 1.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that itself is pretty cool. Like, you could do, like, a playthrough as N through Black and White 2 if you really wanted to, by catching all of his old Pokemon and just going through.
I think Black and White 2 made it. I mean, it's kind of not fair to some of the other rivals, because Black and White 2 did, like Fus just said, it did make Charon and Bianca better in a lot of ways, but I still think the story just in Black and White alone was enough for, because that's actually a good point too. Charon and Bianca, their stories, I know they can get a little annoying because they do battle you quite a bit in the games, but
oh, yeah.
if you actually pay attention to their stories, they actually are also pretty decent. Bianca is like the first Pokemon trainer where their parent actually tries to stop them from traveling the region alone, which is funny. But I do think their stories are also pretty good. But I think N is just on another level for the story. Like, it's just the way he's so intertwined with it. Like, you can't talk about Black and White without talking about N. Like, his story is intertwined with the game story and just makes it just so much better because he fits the narrative really well.
It's hard to find a rival that actually impacts, like, a story. Like, I can't really think of any Pokemon game where the rival, like, the story, like, revolves around, like, the rival itself, especially, like, you know, your rival literally becomes the champion and he's, like, head of an evil team, which I know pretty much all your rivals become a champion at some point. But the fact that he did it, like, you got to see, like, the end result of it, like, before he was even entered into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was cool. That and the fact that his castle actually has a stage in Smash.
That was pretty cool.
You said almost all the rivals get to become champion. Definitely not Hop.
No.
I liked Hop's story though.
Yeah, I think it's funny that we crushed his dreams.
Yeah.
with no mercy on top of that as well. Like, he's not my most hated, like, by far. Like, he's not my most hated, but he was one of the most, like, annoying. Like, especially, like, I'm hunting on stream or something, and then a cutscene with Hop appears. It's like, Hop, I don't want to talk to you, and it would happen way more than I would like to admit. It's like, just let me do my thing, Hop. I don't want to listen to you, and I don't want to fight you right now. I'm busy.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
Do you have a least favorite Hermit?
Oh, the Gen 6 ones. You talk about constantly getting stopped.
Out of all of them.
I don't know, because I always put, what are their names? Tierno, Trevor, Shauna,
Yep.
and then Serena, right?
And then Serena.
So aside from Serena, I usually just clump those three together because I don't know, they're just on the same level of difficulty and annoyance. They stop you more than Serena. Serena will eventually become part of it, but like they stop you way more. Like there's that period in Lumios where you see Serena in the cafe, you get stopped for the dialogue, you go to the gate, you get stopped, you go into the gate, you get stopped, you go outside the gate, you get stopped. A mandatory double battle. And then a little bit after that, the rivals stop you again. Like there's that terrible stretch in those games where you just get stopped like 7 times in 2 minutes, and it is terrible. I think you talk about stoppages, and I'll agree with the Howl one too. Like they do stop you a lot. But the Gen 6 ones, mostly because I most recently played those games. So it was really annoying. They just constantly stop you. Every town, every route, every city, they always stop you. They're not even difficult battles either, and half the time they don't add anything to the story either. Like their interactions with you are just pretty pointless. And like again, when Serena pops up, stuff usually happens, like Mega Evolution, when you have to battle her for that and stuff like that. Like that's at least adds a little something. But the other three, that's why I put them together, because the interactions with them really don't add anything to that game, in my opinion. There's just way too many of them for no real reason.
On top of that too, don't like all the rivals like in X and Y, don't they only have like 3 moves on all of their Pokemon? Like they don't even have a full move set, it's only like 3 moves.
I think all the gym leaders are like that too.
At Elite Four I know as well. Besides for like 1 Elite Four member, I believe.
We all have really good like interpretations of how their rivals like interact with the game. I'm agreeing with everything you guys are saying, especially about the parts about being stopped. I cannot stand that. Before I get into my favorite, I want to just say that my least favorite is actually the Tierno guy, the dancer.
Yep.
I'm like, shut up. Like I can't stand your dream. I like when Hermit said the Gen 6 rivals, I was like, what are the Gen 6 rivals? Like I forgot about them. Like, I was just like, what is happening right now? Talk about a forgettable like group of people. But that's so bad that you're like PTSD responding to like the trauma of those rivals. You're just like you're like pushing them out of your mind in the most aggressive way possible because they're just so bad.
Yeah, terrible. But
if I was gonna pick a best rival, in my opinion, I want to give an honorable mention before I say who I think mine is. And I thought long and hard about this because that's why I like going last about this, because I just don't know what I have to say. That's why I wait. It's great being the host because you don't know. You can't plan none of this stuff until you do it.
Yeah.
The OG Gary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Blue or Gary, whatever you want to call him. Dude, talk about a mean rival. I love it. You know? He's the ultimate plateau, because you're like at the Indigo Plateau, he's there. He beat you to it. That is he's one step ahead of you every single way. He's like scoffing at you the whole time. I think it's just what a good way to start out what a rival could be in a game series. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention, he's not my favorite, but he's definitely right up there. Blue or Gary or whatever you want to call him. I think this might be a little bit like off-putting to some people listening or watching, but I think my favorite rival is Nemona, because I know it's brand new. I know she's brand new, but Hermit and I talked about this on our Scarlet Violet discussion podcast, where we're reviewing the games. She is the like perfect match for you the entire time. She's holding back. And the top champion, who, debatable, you know, Gita wasn't really an amazing champion. But I love how Gita is like, yeah, she was holding back against me. And I'm like, wait, what a power move, right? She is the level scaling in the game. I love how enthusiastic and like like at the same time though, it's like it's kind of like having that friend in school showing you around like your first couple days in middle school or high school, and they've been there for a little bit. You know what I mean? Whenever you're a freshman, you find that like that you're like the buddy of an upperclassman or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It was just kind of that. It was a very familiar thing, and then you go around and she has just good battles with you. I don't know.
Yeah, I like from a battle standpoint, I didn't think she was too bad. And like you said, the whole deal with her holding back and stuff. I just think she kind of lacks a story.
She's battle crazed.
Yeah, she's literally like I see Gary as more of a roadblock, whereas more I see her as kind of someone leading you in a lot of ways. While also being a roadblock. But I think the one critique I can give to Nimona is that she does lack a story. Like her purpose is just really to guide you. She's basically trying to make you strong enough to battle her at her strongest. So that's sort of her deal, which is it's cool.
She's growing you like a plant.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Can we consider like all the other like Arvin, for example? Can we consider him a rival?
We could count them as companions because you get to battle them. So
I'd say Arvin's more of a companion. I don't know if I'd say rival.
Because like Arvin's story, I like his the most, but I feel like he had more opportunities to have his story flushed out.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that DLC is going to come out for probably Penny and Nimona that might flush them out a bit more, I think.
Yeah.
Because like the thing I really liked about Nimona, I wanted to pop in and say this as well, like because we were talking about roadblocks. She only really stops you, I think, for like 3 battles once you go on your treasure hunt. And it's only when you like walk in to like start fighting a gym leader. It's like gym 1, gym like 4 or 5, and then the last gym. And I think that's like...
It's not like all over the map like the Gen 6 rivals are.
Oh yeah, big time. It's not dancing around like Tierno does. But I think it's like the perfect amount of like, hey, I'm here, and hey, you could go, you can go do whatever you want. I won't bother you too much type of... It has a very good mix that I feel like a lot of other rivals should probably have.
I think she's a really good base for Pokemon to go off of from now on. Like, if you compare her to other rivals, she's a good base to go off of. And I agree. The battles are more of like a checkpoint. Like, this is kind of where you should be if you're taking on these gyms. It's not like shoving it down your throat, battle every 2 seconds. It's just kind of like a checkpoint. Like, hey, how you doing? You at my level still? You're a little bit ahead. Okay, that's cool. Like, it's just kind of letting you know where you probably should be in that game or in the game at the time. But I do think she's a very good base to go off of for rivals.
I don't know why, but when you were talking about that, it reminded me of like getting to the 6th gym, and for some reason I have a level 100 Garchomp. And it's like, am I up to your standards yet?
I also like how like all 4 of the or all 3 of the story paths meet together at the end, and then Nimona is the strong one, and Penny's the hacker, and Arvin is like the like the person you've overcome all these challenges with, and the person seeking answers and stuff. It was a really good fleshed out story, and I liked how it wasn't annoying to have that rival. You know what I mean? Like it was just an addition to what's going on, and a person who is kind of like you said, guiding you, which is kind of cool. It didn't feel like my hand was being held the entire time too, which was nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I prefer a rival that like encourages you and also builds with you, if that makes sense. I really do like the craziness of like a rival can bring to, like, if we go back to like Barry from like Generation 4, I like the sporadic nature and stuff like that too. That's kind of fun, and she kind of gives off that kind of vibe too, like, oh my god, I really want to battle you, but I know you're busy right now, so I'm gonna go.
I'll smell you later.
Like, she has restraint. Smell you later. I have restraint, I promise. But that would be my list, I would say.
Wasn't expecting to hear Nimona, because that was funny, because that was going to be an honorable mention of mine too, was Nimona or Arvin.
Yeah, I just like what they did in Gen 9,
I feel like they're going in a step in the right direction, but the next step would be please stop making me fall through the floor. That or why is Larry up on the ceiling for like no reason whatsoever?
Man, we could talk about Larry for a whole podcast.
Oh,
My guy.
He
That's
is
my guy.
he is my spirit animal.
Yep.
Like, I'm not even joking.
I think he's everyone's spirit animal.
He's like the most real Pokemon character.
I feel like everyone has like pretty solid like expectations when it comes to rivals, and the games have gotten through like a little bit of a dip too, because we've come off of, I would arguably say, 3 generations of kind of meh rivals, you know, and now we're, you know, Nimona is a step in the right direction. She's not annoying, and she actually is a little bit of a challenge at the end of the game. She's more of a challenge than Geeta for sure.
Oh, big time.
That's the true like champion battle.
Oh yeah.
You know, she's like been holding back this entire time, and you know, you're the person that's testing, you know, gonna push her to her limits and whatnot. I feel like there's some like accomplishment in that, you know. It brings me back to like the whole, like I said with like Gary or Blue, like how, you know, this person's just constantly one step ahead of you, and it just feels good to just shut them down. You know what I mean?
That's why the jerks are the best, because once you beat them down, it's like, yeah, that's right. You better run away.
If they were to do a director's cut of this game, I would really hope that they would do like a alternate reality where Nimona's like the preppy popular girl that like is a complete basket case to talk to. You know, same kind of thing. She's like, I'm not gonna waste my time battling with you. Come back when you're 3 gyms stronger or something like that. How funny would that be?
You know what, Fus? I thought of a very funny idea for you guys. You guys should do like have you ever heard of like Snapcube, or like people that do like the fan dubs?
Oh yeah.
So do like a fan dub of like the playthrough for like what the rivals would say, but like say things that they probably wouldn't say.
Like Hop being actually competent.
Yeah, exactly. Like Hop being like a rocket scientist. Like that would be perfect.
Or Hal not being hungry for once.
How not actually being annoying. You know what? Just, I know how to make it perfect. Just cut out how entirely, and I think we're okay.
Just Photoshop him out.
Yep, just slowly just Photoshop him out. It's like, perfect.
You know, it'd make more sense for Tierno to be the dude who likes to eat, because he's the bigger dude, and then Hal being like the dancer or something. They could have swapped the models or something.
The crime they did there was not giving him the Mayor B music and not giving him Ludicolo. That is the crime.
They could have had a cameo of him in X and Y.
Yeah, could have had like Mayor B's afro on his shirt or something. Like honestly, that would have worked out like amazingly, because like they could have just given him a Ludicolo, and I feel like everyone would have been like, you know what? I don't hate you as much as I should, but we'll let this slide. You have Ludicolo.
You're like, there's something on the tip of my tongue about why I like you, but I don't like you. Yeah, I would say this was a good conversation. I think that we had a pretty decent spread of different opinions on what was good, and we all agreed on what's bad, which is hilarious. You know, we all had something to add for that, but I think the differences in our wants and needs for a rival is kind of interesting to talk about. And that's the beauty of the Metronome interview. You never know what you're really gonna get until you get it. So like, that's why I'm glad I went last, because I could think about it, and I was like, yeah, I could say this, I could say that, I could say what's already been said, but I was like, you know, it might be a little bit controversial, but I mean, the new rival is a breath of fresh air in my opinion, compared to the last 3 generations of pretty bad rivals.
It's like, I don't blame you. Like, I definitely see the appeal of Nimona, but I personally just love the jerks.
I guess if you really want a jerk rival, you could have Volo on your list.
I didn't even think of him as a rival.
I forgot.
I'm not gonna lie, I love Volo. As soon as I saw him, I was like, you know what? He's gonna be evil. And like, I love the fact that he just threatens to punch you out.
Yeah.
He's like, give me those. I'm not afraid of hitting a kid.
He's one of the only Pokemon trainers too to have more than 6 Pokemon, because he has technically 8.
And the fact that he's like the leader of the evil team, air quotations, even though he's pretty much the evil team.
Yeah.
No, he's also a character that's got some pretty good depth though too. You get to see him go like mentally insane, and then you actually know his ancestor as well, so you kind of see like what his like lineage becomes. I didn't even think of adding like Volo to it, to be fair. Because I kind of see that as like, I figured we were talking about like main series.
Technically, Legends is main series.
Yeah.
It's more main series than BDSP.
Oh boy, BDSP.
I love those games.
I feel like you can love them, but you have to hate them as well at the same time. Just so many issues, but I'm giving them a pass with BDSP because that's the company that did it, Ilka. It was their first, what I like to call big boy project.
Yeah.
Even though it's like you can literally take the code of Diamond and Pearl and you could slap it into that engine and the game will still run just off the Diamond and Pearl code.
You know, and it's probably, you said it's their first big boy project. It's probably their last.
Probably, because Game Freak's not known to give out their IPs to another company. That's like extremely rare. Like I don't think we've actually had that since
Yeah.
Spike Chunsoft, maybe, when they were doing Mystery Dungeon.
Which they should do more of.
I don't think they are, because I don't think Spike Chunsoft is like doing that anymore, unless if they're just gonna do like remakes of Explorers.
Which wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't hate that. But that's a topic for another day.
Oh yeah, that's another time.
I think we had a pretty good conversation. Do you guys have any closing thoughts? We'll start with Blue first.
Closing thoughts is I'm hungry. I want my burrito in the fridge right now.
Wow.
Very insightful.
Hermit, do you have any closing thoughts that are actually about the rival?
And is God.
And I would say that my choice is best out of all of you. I win.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. All right, so Blue, take it away. Plug whatever social medias you want to do, including your channel. Feel free. Go for it.
All right, for those of you guys that like to see like meme shiny reactions, you can follow me on TikTok on ShiningBlue YT. There's also the Twitter channel, the Twitter page. I sometimes post stuff up there. Whenever I do, there's stuff up there, I guess. Yeah, we can go with that. And then you can follow me on YouTube. We do different shiny hunts. We're gonna be continuing Manaphy coming up soon here, so that's gonna be a fun time. That's gonna be another 2-year hunt in the making, boys.
Wow, that's gonna be crazy.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
And guys, don't forget to check out the as the episodes come out, the episodes of The Hunt with ShiningBlue on Sunyshore Station. It's going to be awesome, where we're going to be talking about all things shiny hunting. And if you like what we were talking about now and you like the conversations that we were having, imagine that just specialized on something that we've actually prepped about and not just thrown to the wind on the day of. That's what the beauty of the Metronome interviews are. Anything you want to plug, Lonely Hermit?
So this definitely should still be going on. I have a Pokemon Violet type block on my channel. And then also, as of recording this, just started an Ultra Sun Ultra Moon Soul Link with always more videos. So that should still also be going on. And by the time this comes out, I think I should have started the other series by now. I'll just say it if I haven't started. So what? We have an X and Y randomizer Soul Link, another Soul Link with Jack Nishin that should be coming out. So all that good stuff. If you like Nuzlocke, all on my channel.
That's awesome. And as always, you can follow me on my social medias at the Fus Dab on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. You can check out my YouTube channel, Fus Dab, with spaces, because I'm a cool person, unlike ShiningBlue with one no space between your name. I'm kidding. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, today's Metronome interview. This has been Sunyshore Station. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Sunyshore Station.